Our very special guest today is someone who is absolutely brilliant at looking at how reputation can be really the backbone of your business development. And with her book titled Make Yourself a Little Bit Famous, How to Power Up Your Profile and Get Known for What You Do, I would love to welcome Penny Haslam, the wonderful Penny Haslam. Hello, Penny.
Hello, hello. We all go a bit children's television presenter, don't we, on Zoom? Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'll stop waving, but yeah, hi. Thank you for having me, Sue.
Oh, it's so lovely to see you, Penny. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us today. Penny, I wonder if actually what people might like to hear first is just this very simple answer to the question, what made you want to write a book in the first place?
Oh, everyone's got a book, haven't they? You know, I just thought I better get on with it. No, I just I have a business which is speaking, coaching, and training. And I move in circles with other speakers as part of the Professional Speaking Association. And it quite simply dawned on me that it would be a great calling card, a jumbo business card, to have a book. That was my first thought about it. My second thought about it was, well, why not? You know, why shouldn't I be writing a book? I've got over the horrible hump that I had for, a good decade or two, where I kept on telling myself that I couldn't write. Even though I was a journalist in the past, I was a broadcast journalist. So I wasn't used to writing long form. I was used to writing 2 sentences as an introductory cue into an interview, perhaps. But why shouldn't I? Now I know that I can write and I've got over that hump. I've got something to share with the world. I've got expensive media training that I want to democratize. I want to give it to everyone. I don't want people to waste their talent by not being, as you said, seen, known, recognized. Small business owners and especially people in big organizations. God, I hate that. Probably from a point of pain of my own experience of being in a big organization and being overlooked. And then when I was in business, not really being able to be seen well enough and seen as a trusted advisor or expert. And so the point of pain there was like, I want to share this stuff. Oh, and it's not just media. I can talk about being on a panel as well. And how does that work? And I can talk about speaking because I do those things. So put it all into a book, a handbook, and have fun doing it. That was the key to it. And get a really good quality product that I can be proud of. That was it. And then after that was as far as I got with my thinking.
So that's really interesting. And you mentioned that, you kind of initially it was kind of a calling card as well as, being sort of a way of actually you pooling together all your knowledge and your expertise. What benefits did you think it would bring your business?
Well, I thought quite logically that, if you've got a book, you could probably get a more substantial fee for speaking. Again, that was my limited scope of experience or kind of thinking on it. In reality, gosh, the benefits, the outcomes of writing a book or having a product, having a marketing tool, a product to talk about, has leveraged everything. It's changed everything.
Wow.
And is still continuing to do that. So straight away, I was able to talk about my book. Oh, you've written a book. Oh, so that's a talking point. Yeah, what's it about? Well, it helps business owners, it helps employees raise their profile, get known for what they do. Oh, right, okay, I think I need that book. Yeah, you do. And you probably need me as well. Let's be friends. So there was that kind of initial bit. I found it more comfortable marketing the product than marketing me. So if you're a speaker, a coach, consultant, trainer, it's you, isn't it? You have to talk about you and how you do your work, and that's uncomfortable. It's tiring. Me all the time. I do love talking about me, but not all the time. It can get tiresome. So having a product that I put in all of my best work was easier. It's easier on LinkedIn. Just go, hey, there's a chapter of my book that you should read to help you do this, rather than, hey, look at me.
Yeah. It's so true, isn't it? I hear a lot of authors say that, actually, that, creating, kind of putting you in that product, in that package, gives you this lovely opportunity to kind of just, talk about what it is that you do, but at a slight distance, which I think a lot of people find a lot more comfortable. So Penny, what would you say to everybody here today at the lunch, that about how if they do go down this path of creating a book, or if they have done already, indeed, what would you say from your wonderful toolkit of profile raising and reputation building stuff would you recommend that people do to kind of, like, you talked to me the other day, we had a lovely chat, and you talked about this kind of lovely ecosystem of the book and where it fits in with other reputation building stuff, which is of course your bag. Can you talk a bit about that for us and tell us how you think authors or potential authors might use those tools?
It is an ecosystem. It's not just I'm an author, here's my book. It's like I'm an author, I've been invited on a panel, I'm going to talk about what I do. Oh, and by the way, there's a book. It adds credibility straight away. So you might be able to open more doors than you could do before. So my next book, my third book, my second book isn't published yet. It's published soon. I can't remember the date. I'm not good on details, but it's like in the next 2 weeks. Paul, yeah, okay. So it's coming up. And so my third book, I'm going to be writing about confidence. Now, I think there's lots of opportunities to talk about confidence, but at the moment, I don't feel like I can put myself forward for them because I don't have the credibility of being an author on the topic. I mean, don't laugh, but it's literally only 2 weeks since I realised that the word author and authority are sort of the same. I mean, I don't know where I've been, and I love words, so I kind of missed that memo. But yeah, if I was to approach a magazine and say, hey, you want to talk about confidence, or you want to, have a comment from someone, well, I'm an author on confidence, not just a speaker or a coach, or I know a bit about it. Oh God, no, it has credibility and cut through in places you perhaps wouldn't imagine. So I've dedicated a really big chapter of my Make Yourself a Little Bit Famous book to the media and media opportunities, and it really works well for authors. So thinking of yourself as a go-to expert, not somebody who's on because they've written a book. And I've got two contrasting stories about that. When I was presenting on BBC Breakfast, I used to do the nation's business news really early in the morning, loads of makeup, smiling at 6 a.m. Wasn't my favourite job, I have to say, but it was thrilling nonetheless. But anyway, so we've got on the authors of The Kitchen Table Entrepreneur, the women who set up Not on the High Street, Sophie Cornish and the other one. Okay, so there's two of them. They've sent a press release in. We've written a book. Okay, let's get them on. Perfect. Holly Tucker, that's it. Let's get them on. Let's interview them. Fascinating, brilliant. Off they go. Contrast that with somebody else, like, and I'm going to pull this name out because I think he's brilliant and I've been interviewing him for years on TV, Tom Cheesewright, who's a future specialist. He helps businesses understand and navigate the future. He used to come on as a technology expert. Silent brackets, this is what I do. This is how I can help people. He never put himself forward through a press release. He just built relationships up with the broadcasters, the producers, the researchers, the presenters, the reporters. Who do we need? We need someone who can talk about technology. Oh, Tom, I've got his mobile number. Oh, and he's written a book. Well, that's by the by, but now we know him. He's great. So Holly and Sophie from their small business, or big business when it got to it, weren't asked on again regularly. They'd have to, and so it works really well when you've got a relationship with broadcasters. And then you think also about the media that you might create, the podcasts that you might get invited on because you're an authority or an author figure, because you've written a book on a topic, or the videos that you might make about the stuff that you've written. You've packaged this stuff up. Don't let it go to waste. Don't just think, oh, my book's not selling very well. Well, use the content, use it to get out there more. So for me, it's a key to unlock opportunities. It's an extra badge of authority for yourself. And you can use the content that you worked really hard on creating and writing. I think as well, having a book that you're proud of is, I mean, if you're not proud of your book, you're not going to shout about it or be really chuffed when someone asks you for it, or be proud to hand it over to someone and go, you should have that. And I think that's key as well to all of this. But that's a personal sort of element of it, really. Did that
I
answer
mean,
the question? I can't remember the question now.
yeah, no, it was lovely answer to the question, and actually, it was my question was quite wide. I just wanted to just say though that, yeah, I mean, you know, at the Right Book Company, we're with you all the way on that last point, particularly that about quality and about making sure that, I think it's really important, don't you, that you know, I know how important this was to you, but it's really important that, you know, you make sure that your book actually really does you proud, and that it is as good as you are, because I think that there is a danger sometimes that you know, without putting the right kind of resources into your book project, that you could perhaps turn out something that is not as good as you are, and therefore may actually work against you building that lovely reputation.
Yes.
It could even perhaps damage your reputation at its worst. So
I think it does, Sue. I think, you know, I've you know, handled, touched books which feel cheap and lightweight and glossy, and the font is, what is that font, you know, and you open it and the layout isn't mwah, and you don't know these things really until you begin to dissect or deconstruct what makes a good book and what you want to emulate and copy from others maybe, and what you don't want to copy. But you know, you get given a book that's a bit crap. You're like, oh, really? Do I have to? Does this? Are you a bit cheap, Suit? That's what I think of it as, and that might sound snobby, but that's books, isn't it? It's like, it has to feel good. And in fact, it was Kate who said to me, because I just love the feel of your book, Penny. And I want to have a book like that. I want to feel, it's got to feel good. So anyway.
There's lots of cameras off today because people are eating their lunch, which is brilliant. Well done. Bringing your own lunch is exactly what we need you to do here. So thank you. But lovely to see you briefly there, Kate, munching away. So yeah, so Penny, is there anything else that you think that authors really need to be kind of making the most of? You know, I mean, it was, you mentioned speaking, you mentioned, you know, talking to journalists and the right way to approach journalists and the media. I mean, actually, touching on perhaps the subject of your next book, perhaps you could tell us a little bit about getting onto panels.
Yeah, panels are really good to get onto as an author or an authority figure, because it's sharing the load of sharing your information without having to create a talk or having the pressure of, can I deliver a talk in a Steve Jobs charismatic sort of a way and attract attention and engage the audience. All of that pressure is off when you're sharing the load with 3 or 4 other panelists. And so really the key to getting onto panels is to become panel aware. And I've written in my book a whole chapter on how to get on panels in the first place. And really that's to tell as many people as you can who are setting up events or maybe go to networking events, that sort of thing. And just check out whether they have panels. If you get marketing information from a conference or a regular meetup, just see if they're doing panels and make a swipe folder perhaps in your email about opportunities that come up. It might not be that you can get on the panel that's coming up, but the one in 6 months' time or the one in a year's time at the next annual conference, you might be able to. So think about all your connections in institutes, professional bodies, networking associations, networking places which maybe have national coverage as well, or wherever you want to do business, and think about getting on panels there, or set your own event up. I'm doing a book launch with a panel discussion about panel discussions. I know it's getting a bit meta there. On the 16th of February, it's online. And because it's going to be a masterclass in how to do panels, it's not just me going, hey, I've done a book, come and like look at my book. I'm just actually going to be useful and helpful for people attending. That is a way of doing it yourself. You can do any sort of event with a panel discussion online as well. It's brilliant. So there's lots of tips in the book. Panel discussions. One other main thing I would say about your book or your content, and it's a bugbear of mine, when people put together a business book and they use examples that are either well known or from massive corporates that you perhaps think, oh, I could have Googled that and found out the Blockbuster story or the PayPal story, or, you know, these, use your own stories and write them well. If you think about why you want to have a book, oh, I want it for great reputation, I want to be seen, I want to be known. Well, what do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known for knowing some stuff about Blockbuster or PayPal or the time the chief executive of such and such? You know, it's all a bit kind of out there, over there. But if you think about what you ultimately will achieve by people reading that and going, oh, right, I see myself reflected in your pages written about, you look like you're accessible to me. So all the people I wrote about in my book were people I'd actually met and worked with and either helped develop and grow themselves, or that I'd, like the Tom Cheesewright and the Not on the High Street founders. People had unique stories. So therefore more credible, more valuable, more interesting, more useful than business books, which are frankly boring, you know, because they don't quite connect with you and how you might write about them as well. So hopefully those two things, panel discussions and be authentic and real and granular in your writing about your stuff, not anyone else's, not Steve Jobs and how Apple's better than Microsoft, you know. Anyway, so yeah.
I love that, Penny. I love that. I think that kind of blends in really nicely with that trust and credibility thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, actually that you don't have to be, even your stories don't have to be about people that are powerful and famous and all of that. They just have to be real and you, and that helps people to kind of get to know you and make that connection. And I think that's really good for reputation, is to be as you can be, and as authentic as you can be. I love that.
To demonstrate your abilities to change things in others.
Yes. Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, I suppose it depends what you want. I mean, Paul, you were brilliant with me when I first had a conversation with you about marketing for the book or the book at all. You went, well, what is it you want to achieve? Do you want to be a #1 bestseller on Amazon, or do you want to make connections with your customers, get your fees up as a speaker and consolidate your authority and expertise? I thought, I don't care about Amazon #1 bestseller. It doesn't matter to me that. So it was a different kind of approach in the marketing, but also in the content. But had I wanted to be a #1 bestseller on success, I perhaps would have talked about Apple versus Microsoft, but maybe added some other stories in there as well. So I think you, as the Simon Sinek TED talk famously says, start with why. Although I used to start with wine, which was also quite useful sometimes, but not anymore. Not anymore. Anyway.
Yeah, but what a great place to kind of wrap up our little section there, Penny.